A pretty red afternoon here. Market continues to grind along the lows here, specifically the NASDAQ, as we get day one well underway now of the Jackson Hole Symposium. Continue to get Fed officials coming out with differing opinions, let's put it that way, on what the Fed should do going forward. The latest, Fed's Collins here, Boston Fed Chair Collins, talking a little more hawkishly versus what we heard in the morning. She was essentially saying, not only do rates need to go higher, but they will stay there for longer. So that was the latest comment coming out of the Jackson Hole Symposium once again. Again, U.S. interest rates may need to rise again. And then if you read into this a little bit further, they should stay there for quite some time, echoing some other comments that we heard in the morning. Anyway, that is how the overall market, as far as the S&P 500 is concerned, looks right now. Nvidia still holding on to a slight gain there, but everything else pretty much downside at this point. As I mentioned, the NASDAQ right on day lows. J&J here, 0.5% to the upside. There are a few banks left to the upside. If you remember, in the morning, though, I was highlighting the fact that banks were offsetting. Some of the consumer discretionary names up here were also helping to offset an otherwise red board at that point. Things have gotten even worse since then, however, including tech, all of these to the downside. Look at Oracle, 3% downside, 4% therefore. Netflix in negative territory, CRM, one of the worst off as well, more than a full percent to the downside. Yeah, more fears over interest rates and what on earth is going to happen going forward here. Remember, we're a couple of weeks out from the next CPI print first off, which is going to be on the 13th. And then the very next week we get the next Fed decision, 19th and 20th. So we'll get the actual decision on the 20th, the afternoon of the 20th. Here's Nvidia. If you missed it there, this is how things have played out throughout the midday. 480 ends up being a bit of support, some moving averages coming into play. But yeah, we basically give back the entire earnings move here, coming back to the downside. A little bit of buy volume coming in now. Still huge volume behind this. But I mean, a monster report. If you missed it this morning, we touched on it in depth in the pre-market. Make sure you're with us every day at 8:30. We took you through everything you needed to know. It was lifting most of the chip makers, all of the AI-related names here, guys, but it was downside right out of the gate with the overall market, as I think more attention maybe ended up going towards some of these comments that were coming out of Jackson Hole.
Well, it didn't give up the entirety of the aftermarket move, Nvidia. That's the good news. And also, not all stocks were up that were chip related at 8:30 in the morning, or I guess 9. We come on at 8:30, but at 9:30 when we opened up. So Nvidia, wow, that is right. There's no other expletive, not an expletive, but there's no other word you're going to use. We did not get down to 470, so that technically speaking, you kind of didn't get all the way to the bottom. I'll get to what was the one name that was not up on Nvidia's coattails in the pre-market, and that was probably a good short. It was difficult if you weren't really willing to just punch short right at that 500 level. I was looking at a couple of other names we'll get to in a second from some related names for the short side trade. And then I said, slap me if I go long underneath 500 anywhere but 480. The mistake made was first time off 480, not there. Second time off 480, okay. It goes 481, gets 484, pulls back down. That's the third time through. What am I doing taking it the third time? It's not a charm. It then ended up breaking. That's where you didn't want to enter. You want to see it regain and then do that nice little consolidation to the upside. I happen to like Palantir 14 even a little bit better. Something about if you're taking a bounce play, an even dollar bounce, sometimes it's just easier to put on because you're sitting there waiting for it to hold like 1390 or something, and then you just punch long 01s, 02s. And I just like that R&R better than sometimes going over to something like this. But that 480 has been the key price. No question about it for Nvidia. If I have a regret this morning, one of them, not just XPeng, it's going to be not getting back into Intel. Intel was the stock that was not up. This was down pretty much the entirety of the pre-market, even when Nvidia was gapped up and AMD was gapped up and every single other one of these names was gapped up except for Intel. A lot of it has to do with, their margin story is not very good. They just have more competition coming through, so they were not riding those coattails whatsoever. So I liked the short right away off it. It was working. I reloaded. It stopped out the high, and I just did not get back into it. Unfortunately, there I was able to join the trend on Marvel, which I also liked to the long off 60. Shorted that one down around 60 when it reversed, got to 58.5. but just nothing top. Like Intel's the only name I like short at the open out of that group, and it's the one I couldn't hold on to. So ultimately, sometimes you can miss on a few, but at least I really didn't want anything but 480 long on Nvidia. It's not an easy move when it drops $20 like that, not to look for bounces everywhere. And Nvidia didn't go red. That's the interesting sign. It actually didn't go anywhere close to the previous close. I thought it was headed down there when 480 broke, and that's actually a pretty good hold up when you think about it for Nvidia.
Yeah, it could have always been a lot worse. I mean, I wish we would have known that 475 was the bottom, but yeah, we didn't. We just played it off 480, and this day could have been infinitely worse than it was, but we were able to take some profit there on the last couple trades there for Nvidia. Right into here, excuse me, we caught some of these bottoms. So, I mean, everything was fine. I just feel like it's always like this, man. It's like you get these big earnings and then you just get disappointed because you either weren't patient enough or something happened or whatever. So, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed, but I do think a 490 break could get going as well. We'd like to take VWAP first, and if we do that, then we'll go. My energy level is like at like a 30 or out of 100 maybe. So we'll still be here today. We have Snowflake. We'll talk about all the, okay, Snow is next. So, all right, we're ready to rock and roll. We did not trade AMD today. We probably should have done that. There's Nvidia's trying to go again. What is AMD down today then? Because AMD was only up 1.3% or something. Oh, wow, yeah, wow. Okay, so AMD,
oh, wow.
I mean, did you even realize that?
Hell no. What? I did not.
What the hell just happened with AMD today?
I'm guilty for not having pulled that chart up today.
I mean, guilty until proven innocent. Like, I didn't even see this, to be honest with you. Did it? Well, I didn't. Thanks, Randy. How come we didn't? Did anybody on the midday show?
You gonna rub his head too, or you gonna rub his head too?
You can rub my head if you want to. Yeah, you like that? Don't ever do that.
I love Randy. I mean,
but
he's so random.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, I actually, the more and more I like this, I didn't realize AMD was down here, so I'm a little bit starstruck. Just to see Randy and get him to touch my head there, that was pretty awesome. And then the second one there, $100.01. So 101 at the bottom here for AMD. Like, wow, why didn't we notice that? So what is Intel down then? I mean,
I actually thought Intel was doing the worst.
Yeah, it's not even close.
But it's not even
remotely close.
In my head, it was doing the worst.
What are we?
In my head.
What are we missing with AMD here? Maybe those of you can tell us. But anyways, yeah, I like that.
Well,
now I'm thinking about going long if we come back down to 101.
Here's the only logical thing I can think about why it's that big to the downside is if the margins are so fantastic for Nvidia and the report was that big and they're going to sell Nvidia, then there's no chance. Well, I shouldn't say there's no chance. There's a low probability is not wrong. I wouldn't bet on AMD coming through with the same ability for margins when they're competing and it become a lower price with their product. So along those lines, if they would sell Nvidia, there's almost no chance they'll be as efficient early on as Nvidia is a competitor. So maybe that's a bit of a push to the downside for them because they're coming late to a party that's inflated. Then maybe that's why it's selling off more. But again, you're crafting a story as to why it's doing what it's doing when really reject 50 period, which it's been doing already, trend to the downside, lower highs, lower lows, all that good stuff. So when Nvidia turns around, AMD just does what it was doing before, which is gently trending to the downside. Sometimes it's that simple.
Okay, we're going to talk about Snowflake. We do have a big Tesla trade on as well right now, but let's go over to the desk and talk to Brendo and Sharif.
Yeah, let's have a look at Snowflake, another one that we were discussing if you were with us in the pre-market this morning. I was just looking at this note once again, just to refresh my memory. There was an interesting part of that down here was 6 straight quarters in a row. Now, if I said that, Snowflake has beaten revenue expectations 6 straight quarters in a row. I feel like that might be a little surprising.
Yeah, well, these enterprise cloud AI, up the lake have done quite well. I'm not muted. I'm not muted.
Anyway.
So, can you hear me?
All right, some mic issues apparently. We'll get that sorted out, guys. But yeah, 6 straight quarters in a row, as I was mentioning there, for Snowflake on a beat. But we give it all back, obviously, negative move with the market.
Check's notes here, 6 quarters would be a year and a half. So when I pull my daily chart back for a year and a half, I mean, you tell me 6 straight beats, I'd really be thinking, you know, the market's been trending to the upside. That's going to be a good looking daily chart over the last year and a half. But it's not what you would expect. It's in exactly the same range that entire time. Same top, same bottom in the last year and a half, 120 bottom, 200 top, and you're just going back and forth, teetering. Now, I'm cherry picking because if I go before 2020, you kind of see it fall down to here. But this is not a name that has made the bounce that others have. Now this doesn't want to low. See, when I decide to pull it back and show you where it came back from 2020, it doesn't really matter. It's in the same range for those 6 quarters. Not a heck of a lot doing for it. It looked like it had a chance to get above that 200 period on earnings, break out that 50 period and trend up, and you're getting a rejection. So when the dust settles here in the next couple of days, if it resolves underneath the 200 period again, and the market continues a pullback, I don't see why this wouldn't just be headed right back to the same place that's been the bottom for the last year and a half during those 6 quarters, which is 125. First things first, let it calm down, let the market calm down, see what happens in this range. If it holds underneath here, you can maybe start trending down into 125, but it's just day one. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If tomorrow it's like everything green and Jackson Hole ends and then next week we're laughing, I'm not going to assume that just because we're red today that it has to be the start of a downward trend for some of these names. You allow these things to develop, you read the tape, but if we can't get back above the 200 period, a couple of days into that, I'm thinking this is a short into 125 on Snowflake.
All right, so today actually, number one name here today is Snowflake. It's the number one profit name on the show. It's the number one profit name for me. It's been a good trade, and we actually were lucky. I mean, lucky? I don't know. I have to really just regroup everything when we're trading these stocks, and that is that you don't need to trade these things in the first half hour. Like, for some reason, it's like I'm digging myself some holes in these names, and then when I'm battling it back, it's fine, and we're up. But we should be up infinitely more than this. But we're still, like I said, can't complain. It's a top stock, although Tesla right now is trying to take that spot over. Anyways, 147 down here at the bottom, you know, we just waited. And I just feel like I'm not even going to look at any other charts. I'm just going to look at the 1 minute chart here today because this is the truth for every single. And this is why I feel bad. And by the way, let's freaking go right now on Google. Hopefully that can continue to pump up. And we're $1.50 in the money on Tesla right now. We're $3.50 in the money on Snowflake. We're 50 cents in the money on Google. And we're still $1 on AMC. So we've got 4 for 4 right now. But look at this. We just keep on coming up, and I just keep getting out at 151. So here's the downtake. We did have one stop right there once it broke 146.50. But we got back in because it was holding 146. So I was like, you know what? For 40 cents or 50 cents worth of risk, let's do that. We stopped out on that bottom wick, so we were just going to give that a little bit more. Excuse me. And then just look at the bar coding. You know, if you're wrong, you get smacked on this because you go long here and you get out for about $1. But when you're right, you get that sort of retracement back up, and obviously the market did help because it stopped going down. But like, to be long at 146 where we are, or we're long at 147 right now, and to get out at 146.50, but you're still taking $4 worth of a win. It's a good R to R, and I still think Snowflake can climb. So watch to see what happens when it takes out VWAP and then gets back up to the upside. To me, I feel like it should be around here, 152.50, something like that. So we'll see if Snowflake wants to get going back up there to the upside. But yeah, AI stocks, that's hilarious about Palantir. We'll wait here because Tesla, I think, is another huge, not I think, is another huge AI stock. And as if I have an offer at 234, it just touched 233.80. So let's put another offer out there. We're $1.50 in the money on this one. But we'll talk about this when we do AI stocks. Over to the desk. Hopefully mics are fixed.
It was a negative day right out of the gate for all of these, unfortunately. There wasn't much as far as other catalysts, but turns out, yeah, prior to contrary belief, Nvidia can't lift all of these stocks throughout the entire session. So here's AI. I just pulled up this one. They all kind of look the same. $28 to the tick at the bottom here for C3 AI.
Yeah, everything giving up the ghost here, Brenner. Like you said, 12% down for AI. Sound and BBAI down more than 6%. Even Microsoft down 1.5%. Adobe, which has been praised for the Firefly, also losing 2.5%. So nobody's been spared today.
Yeah, as I mentioned, nothing outside of Nvidia as far as news catalysts, those guys, for any of these.
Yeah, I tried AI twice to the long side, so like that'll be my bad stock for the day today. You got to try to control it, but I liked two names short in the morning. AI just flushed so fast. The only thing that moved down faster than C3 AI, than Nvidia, I should say, was probably C3 AI off the open. Like it was just down like $2 or $3 so fast. It was insane. But it is what it is. You go to those key levels and you take a shot. When it got to SSR, I also took a shot. So first it was like 30.5. It bounced there. Actually, initial bounce not bad. Was able to scalp some out, reload, no good, get out. All kind of overlapping. And then when it got into SSR, so this wasn't a huge level so much as it was 10% to the downside at 29 even or so. I was able to get in and out, kind of tight stops as usual with that SSR bounce play. And then it made a bottom, like it just goes right through the week's bottom, higher low, and then a consolidation up. And when I saw it get back to that original like 29.50 where it couldn't bounce before in the SSR bounce, big parabolic move up, little candle to reject it. I saw the futures get to a resistance point. I just put the short on underneath 50. It hasn't done, it's kind of barcoding here. So 29, 28 is my short. It's filled once at 29, just slightly under, and I'm looking for a retracement play. But the other one that I didn't really get into until it got to the even was Palantir. Because it, again, just flushed like a rock. There wasn't a single green candle on the 15-minute until noon on Palantir. All red until noon, and it got down to 14 even. And the first green candle on the 15 coincided with this consolidation underneath 14, and then it broke back out, so went long 14 ones and 14 twos, scalped out till like 14.30 when it got to this previous level. Just say take that. If it rolls over, do not want to be holding past. And then looking for a VWAP break. And then if it gets above 14.5, I think there's some room to run. You had to be uber patient today when it came to trying to catch a falling sword. Wait for it, catch it on the front end, or on the back end instead of the front end. Still in it, but I'm kind of trailing it at this point. The trend is to the downside. And it's still proven otherwise. If we get above VWAP, then this is trend up.
All right. The second biggest AI stock I feel like is going to be Tesla. And, it just finally settled down. And, you can catch, just like what Neil said, man, trying to catch a falling knife is very, very difficult. So in the morning, I'm actually glad I didn't look at it because I probably would have used like some of these levels, especially 230 as a level. It did dip down into 228. So you'd have to hold that trade about $2 against you. But we finally came in and it just started to level off. So we just started to get some bids here at 232 and it just was like holding. And I said, okay, if I can go long at 232 right there against 231.85 or whatever that bottom is, like this is, we have the position on. So this is like 30 cents worth of risk. And we just took $1.50 again. So another 5 to 1. And we only have right now 25% left. So good trading on Tesla. Let's see if it takes out the high. I really like this name. And it's been beat up for a while, man. And the Tesla just continues to make those moves. Looks like now over the last couple of days, 225-ish has been pretty good. We got that bottom there of 225, yesterday's bottom of 227, and then right here tonight, 229. So we're starting to sort of make like, there's a low, so high, that's a low, higher low. And then I guess that kind of breaches that. But then you got there again, and then you got here, and then it looks like today, as long as all is well, we'll finish above 228 again. So yeah, maybe Tesla's finally turning it around and giving some bulls a reason to celebrate after what's been a pretty negative month where we only had like 4 or 5 positive days until just recently. But here we go, we're starting to make another move to the downside. So let's wait to see what happens here with Tesla. We've already got a piece out, and I will reload it down here at 232.
All right, let's go on to Amazon. I was just noticing there's this JCSE just popping up in front of me here. A little penny stock, but just ripped up about 20 cents or so to the upside. Just be aware. I'll continue to keep an eye out for JCSE. If you missed it this morning, a really positive note from Piper Sandler on Amazon, reiterating their very positive stance and even increase their price target here. But obviously, as we've seen with the market, downside today.
Yeah, like Brenda was saying, keeping their analysis of it to overweight, increasing the price tag from 175 to 185. This is after, kind of bad news that we've gotten from Amazon, or bad headlines that have been coming out as of late. We know that they want a lot of their employees to find and move to cities where there are hubs, and a lot of employees have been quitting rather than moving. So, the headlines haven't been good, but nice to see the analysts still like them.
Yeah, a lot of positivity pre-market today. Ends up being a very red day, guys, right across the board.
Yeah, we traded Amazon earlier on today. I thought the upgrade would have been good, but like someone just said, man, it must have been a rough day if you kept going long, and that's exactly what we did. Again, we're going to be down on Amazon. I mean, I feel rougher than my net is, so it's fine. But, again, tried to catch it there. We really liked 136. So we got the long at 136. We got some out at 136.50, but then it dropped down and we got out for about a 20. Everything's going to be about a 20-cent hit. So there it was again. Then we tried it again at 135. Did not work. Then we tried again at 134. Did not work. Then we tried again at 133. Did not work. So, every dollar we gave it a shot, but the hits are relatively small. But again, if you're trading bigger size, that does continue to add up. Of course, the only level we don't try it at, and we were down here with Google, so it's fine. But 133, there's 133. But then, of course, 132 holds. All right. I don't know. Just very, very puzzling to me. I still like Amazon. I love the AI story. Obviously, today, this little quadunk that happened in the whole market sent everything reeling. And as long as you were disciplined and you didn't try to catch bottoms, you probably had a very, very good day. And I just feel like there's more to come, right? There's probably a little bit more downside. But I like Amazon. And I don't know. These bottoms of 131, I want to keep buying it. I don't like retail really other than Amazon. The other name that I like, of course, is Costco. But I feel like we're buying a lot of crap from Amazon. A lot of people are. I even see here at TraderTv.live, there's tons of stuff coming all the time. It's just like, you know what? Buy the dips in this name. I just wish I would have traded a little bit better. I did not expect all of this. So let's wait to see what comes through here on Amazon. I still really like a 132 bottom.
There was only one retail name I was looking at this morning, and it was on our watch list. Guess, we mentioned it last night. It had 28% short float, and it gets set up after what we saw with Abercrombie and Finch, where it had that big move to the upside, big breakout. This had a bigger short float and an earnings beat. So it beat top and bottom. You look at the daily chart here, this is the resistance at $21.50 on the daily chart. Room to 22.5. I mean, obviously, a couple of wicks above here, but then, again, I usually always get up pretty early, but then there's 23 in here, 23.25. At the open, this is what you were looking at. Post-market resistance at 21.50, absolute barcode at 21.50, simply setting it up for a breakout trade, classic move, quarter 50. Then it got to that 23, slapped the trailing stop when it got to the level on the daily. But there weren't a heck of a lot of things that, if you were set up to the long side, that went pretty much according to plan, where it's like your level to the T, and then it broke up and then gave you your targets. This one was a high short float. That's the impetus for the trade. But the real reason that I think it was good was simply because of what happened yesterday in ANF. You saw this with ANF yesterday. A bunch of other retailers got smoked on the week, and then ANF bucked the trend by breaking out and then continuing a move to the upside. This was a $41 stock that broke back out 47 and then went all the way up to 51. It had another decent day at the open today. But that's what it's all about. You have to find somewhere, just look for different setups that have a good catalyst. That's why we have the watch list out every single morning. To me, this was the only place where the plan went pretty much perfectly. I wish I could tell you it did on Intel. I would have been short the entire day on that stock, but at least that worked out on GES. I didn't hold it as long as I could have, but that's fine. You have to find these little kernels of shining kernels in a market which is just absolutely dying. There's going to be longs out there, and this one, it gave it to you mostly because of that short flow. Didn't have to fight the trend with it at all. And we are going to get some other retail names this week as well. So this might not be the last one.
Yeah, impressive day. It's worth noting. I mean, retail is still showing all kinds of, we saw Gap as well, still to come, but retail still showing all kinds of strength. I wanted to mention a couple things. We'll talk about Mullen here in a second, but AMC obviously on the board there. We'll touch on that, I guess, first. Back below $15 here, or $1.40 if you want to undo the math that happened at the open today with this reverse split coming through. Day number one off of the reverse split if you missed it. Shout out to Michael Nawson, the team over at Trade Ideas, updating their charts the day of.
Yeah, that's a good look because you don't often get that. Let's talk about what happened today. So they had a float of around 520 million shares. The reverse split now takes that to 52 million. Tomorrow, some 995 million APE shares are going to basically come down to about 100 million. That would come down into AMC's float. So, investors not liking it. We talked about this yesterday, Brendo. They've given up all the gains now since the meme craze of January 2021, actually below it.
Okay, sorry, Sean actually traded AMC, but I was just we're talking about AMC APE and the whole conversion. Right now, APE is $1.38, AMC's 14.3, you said, right? 14.4? It doesn't really matter. Like, it's just a matter of the fact that that's actually getting closer. I think that spread is closing as the day gets on. So it does bear watching. Maybe if near the close that spread tightens up or doesn't tighten up, there could be a trade at the end of the day. I'll get to Mullen because I traded that, but I'll let you talk AMC.
Yeah, we talked about AMC a little bit there throughout the morning, and we were a little bit, I actually completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. So we just went over there and I was like, all right, I'll just punch short. Like, we paid for the shorts. It was really, really cheap. There was a great opportunity to do that. And we just, honestly, there's absolutely nothing to this level. I mean, I'm short at 15.05. Like, I don't know. I saw it tanking down and I saw this little lip there at 15.50. So I said, you know what, for 50 cents worth of risk, let's just take this to the house. And for 50 cents worth of risk, that's $15.05. We got out at 13.70. And now we're just holding only 20%, so 20, 40, 60, 80. And then obviously I had no idea how low you can go, but split adjusted, of course, this is $14.50 or $1.45. So yeah, it's well below its pandemic lows right now. And I don't know. I feel bad, of course, for everything, but at the same time, like, you knew reverse splits were a problem. We made sort of a joke yesterday about Mullen, and they came in with that news. Can AMC still go? Of course it can. I mean, I'm not saying this is dead by any stretch of the imagination, but down 30% might tell you otherwise. So I feel like there is some interesting stuff, like with APE and the price and everything like that, because if it's supposed to convert over, I mean, Neil was just saying, like, this is only $1.39, so AMC should not be $13.90, but I don't know enough about all of that. There's probably some sort of time value that is associated there. And if there were a smart algorithm, they would figure that all out, not me.
Could be cost to borrow, maybe.
Could be, exactly. That's what I mean. Time value of money, which is, cost to borrow the shares, you mean?
Well, because if you hedge it, you have to short AMC, which you got to pay to do.
Yeah,
and you got to go long APE. But for us, it's like we're day trading. So when we pay for locates, it's a different cost than people that have to hold overnight. That's why you'll hear us say things like, our locates cost 1/8 of 1 cent per share. And it might be a little bit different for you guys when you're paying your broker to short. Oh, we're going to go back to the desk. Oh, wait a minute.
We're going to
go back
look. We got the best look
to something even better than that, Brendo.
There we go. Yeah, it's a different look, but I'm doing this for a specific reason. That's solely because it's such a red day. On a red day, we want to know what is weak and why it's weak. Shout out to Trade Ideas, bringing you the rundown. This board essentially telling you what is making new lows in real time. So new lows on the day in real time versus new highs. So since I started the scan, 2,504 versus 141. Again, on a day when the market is downside grinding along the lows, you want to know what is making new lows versus new highs. Shout out to Trade Ideas bringing you the rundown, guys.
I love that look. There you go.
So we're just checking that out.
We're always doing something better and something new. I mean, you saw the team, working the last couple of days and weeks. You'd see Rob and you'd see Mark they'd be in front of us. They'd be carrying ladders around and all that stuff. Randy would be coming by to rub Sean's hair instead of work. But that's what it's all about. So I just want to shout out to the team for getting that together. I love it. We're definitely always looking to make things bigger and better for you. You referenced Mullen. Mullen did some things today. So like this, it kind of moved just a teensy little bit. Mullen moved a little bit today. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Sometimes you always have to trade with a stop. I cannot say this enough. Right? Like, have an out. Were you wrong first? And then if you're wrong, get the heck out. So I like the short in Mullen. You guys all know that. It rolled the heck over at the open, 75 to 50 something. When it curled back to that 60-cent level, I was in the short. It immediately stopped out, tight stop, waited for it to test VWAP. We left it. Why am I drawing lines here in the chart? Oh, figure it out, Neil. I don't want to draw a line. Let me take that off. I was drawing
Take
lines
that- take
before.
that- get that line out of there.
Get that out of there. Unless
that.
it's a Fibonacci, then I don't
Get
want it on
that
my
lit
chart.
li-
You can put the Fibonacci. No, I'm just kidding. We don't use Fibonacci. I think some people do. I don't really use them much. But when it got to VWAP, I said I would wait for that at the beginning of at the end of the show. There, I was 8 or 10 o'clock or so. I got it all the way down to a double bottom. I tried VWAP a second time. It broke the local. And look at the. I got fortunate because right when I got out, it then popped right up to 66. I waited around and said at that point, it's a trend up. Either I want the long, which I probably should have done, or wait for it to get to, I thought maybe $1, but ended up being 95. So it goes parabolic from here, gapping to make a test at $1, which is what it's trying to do. It's trying to close at $1 for 10 days in a row. It then failed 95. I shorted 92.5. It was looking absolutely fantastic. 88s, 86s. Hold on to the final third of it. Get stopped out, make top wick, that's how I roll, and then it comes all the way back to the downside. Now this looks still relatively, I mean, it's making lower highs, but the longer it holds on to 78.80, I'm looking out for that same thing at the closes yesterday. If it makes a pop and a late day run past 90, remember the game that's being played here is they're trying to close the stock over $1. So if buyers show up en masse in the last little bit, trying to push it that last 10 cents, I have no issues punching long in front of size and holding it to $1. That's what I'd look for the long trade. That's very likely at the end of the day. Maybe there's a VWAP bounce play in there for you, but it looks like the volume is already starting to taper off a bit. So until that picks up, I'm all done with Mullen. I think the lesson always here is whether you're counter trend or with the trend, it doesn't matter. Make sure you have an out, adhere to it. Get in at your entry. Make sure that's what you're looking for, and then make sure you're willing to get out at that high of the day. You know, you got to be willing to make the top wick sometimes, which I did over there in Mullen. What else? There was something else I wanted to get to. C3AI, that's fine. It was Apple I wanted to get to because we now talk pretty much about anything. Oh no, not Blue Ocean. That's shout out to Blue Ocean, the overnight gateway that allows you to trade. But also, if I hit enter too fast, I pull that up instead of NASDAQ, where Apple actually trades. So when the market's been trying to bounce, Apple, which I had a theory was going to be a decent consolidation long at one point, never really set up for it, and is approaching that 177 level, which has been pretty key. There you go, yesterday's bottom, 2 days ago, that's where we closed. So if it gets to 177, I'd be looking for like the up-down move, like, or down up, I suppose it would be in this case. Like it breaks 77, immediately regains, and then maybe you can catch a bit off of that level. Down 2% is not what I was expecting out of Apple. I anticipated that if we had a bad day today, that Apple was going to be able to hold up better than 1.5, better than the overall market, the NASDAQ. So it's down worse than the NASDAQ, which means I only want long on a false break. Fail break of 177, not standing in front of it, breaking it, failing underneath, and then getting back above. Like I want to see it trap shorts underneath 177 because it's a relatively weak name. Not what I was expecting, but at least it didn't present what I wanted, so I didn't have to trade it. That's a lesson for today. I think a lot of times you can force trades, but I was guessing Apple would be stronger, and if I was just like, yeah, it's going to happen, then I'd already be long like umpteen times here. And one last one for you, because Rivian might get to $20 here. I like a Rivian long on a 20 break. So Rivian, hit enter 3 times. That's once, that's twice. This could be thrice. It's down 2%. It's been battling around here this entire, daily's not working. It's been battling down here many times. It has gone under 20 to recover every single day that it's been under 20. It has bounced back and at least got to the quarter. Yesterday it got to the 50. Today it traveled deeper. I think if it breaks out, the R&R is not bad for a breakout trade here on Rivian.
What's up, Lark Moto? If you are sick, use this recipe, he says here. So I've got, I just tweeted this out. I've got some lemon tea with honey and everything, so no worries. Bourbon, honey, a little more bourbon. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Then drop an Alka-Seltzer in it. Trust me, bro, that works. Someone also said Cold FX is there as well. I probably should go home and get some rest, but stay tuned for the show at 4 o'clock, as we'll be back here at 4 o'clock. It's actually fine. I feel not great, but I feel okay. All right, so I do have a new position alert right now. Finally, we decided just to go short AMD, which means it's probably going to rip up. We have this area right into here. We just kept on wicking up to 101.50. You know, and then we have this little top here of 101.56, and then all the way to the up here at 75. So I was kind of just going to play maybe a breakthrough of 60 or something, and to be wrong. But I kind of want to play this. I mean, I just said like AMD's down 7+% right now. Will the market continue to go? It's having a hard time, right? We just marked down 15,000, so it's right there. We're below 15,000. That seems to be a pretty legit marker. So we'll find out if it can hold some of those levels, and then we have a stop in case it does not. So we'll get a little more AMD if it comes up near that 150 marker or 105.50, and then hopefully we can get a downside push into the 20s, and that'll be nice because that'll be a little bit more than 1-to-1, and then we can take out the bottom. Let's see if we take out 101, and then we'll see, can we get into double digits today? I mean, the market has to really tank down. You're down 1.43, but we've been up like 2% in the NASDAQ, so maybe it still does have some fall through with it as well. We took out a little bit of Google as it's going, and then I did want to talk about this because we already talked about Snowflake a little bit. So it broke right there, 150, was it 150? Yeah, 150. So we wound up getting out of, at the 50 period moving average, which is about 150.20 or so. It made these exact bottoms again. I mean, we're down here, we're long down here, so we're in the money right now, $3, but it keeps on making these bottoms as well, 149.50. I just didn't want to average into it, but I feel like this is a decent spot right here for Snowflake. So now we can just hold it. My next offer on, actually I don't even have an offer on Snowflake, is a lot higher. Hopefully it will just continue to go upside. I think I have to put something around VWAP, like if we get a 152, we should probably take it. It just keeps on bumping its head up there. Here we go, finally. All right, man. I mean, like I said, we got to make sure that we take a little bit. It's only down to here. Oh, it was down a lot more before. Okay, here it goes. All right, we'll just take a 30 fill, and then we'll take a 26 fill. And there it is, man. You know what? Regardless of how your boy feels, it's fine. There's a nice little short for us, man. I can see clearly now. As this market is hopefully going to head to the downside, as we've reversed our into short, AMD is by far my biggest position. We just got filled. I wish I would have canceled this. Tesla's come back in as well. So let's put an offer here for Tesla. We do have an out. We talked about where we're getting out on this one. Will my order fill? I hope it does. A breakthrough of 231.75. So we just made a mistake there by getting long. So we'll get out a little bit there. Half of our position out. But so far, so good, man. Tesla's falling back in. Snowflake, I mean, if it breaks this level, maybe we get out at 149.50. We just talked about that. But I kind of like that name. AMC's still in the money. Google's dropping down as well. If Google breaks below 50, we'll probably get out. We don't have very many shares on it. Really, I'm riding and dying right now with AMD. So let's see if that one can go back in. Look, we just shorted this, right? And basically is trying to retreat back into the low here. So 101.15 here for AMD. Let's put some bids. Yes, sir. We just get that fill as well, 101.15.
Yeah, it's time to trail some. It's probably time to trail out long. I think it's going to happen on Palantir. If it breaks 14.30, I slap my trail in there for sure. Apple is coming to the downside. I see it. It is making the move. I do like, I mean, look, I'll get to Mullen in a second, but we actually bypassed the Boeing story this morning. Well, we talked about it a little bit, but then in the context of SPR, I mentioned that $20 level on SPR. It just regained underneath 20 on SPR. It did the SSR bounce. It got back. It's under 20 here. I think if you were watching this one at the open, if I was, no question I was focused elsewhere. Let's be real about this. Every AI name and chip name was more interesting at the time. But when this got under 20 for the final time, it was a huge $1.20 flush. I'm going to like the consolidation short underneath 20 bucks here on SPR. Bad news for them. Flat bottom breakdown today, down 14%. Everything about it is bad, except for the fact that it made an SSR bounce. But it's now under VWAP, so I'm looking for an entry here underneath VWAP on SPR. I'd probably take two shots at it. One, let it carry a little bit above VWAP. The second one, wait till 20 bucks. But it's showing me a nice consolidation underneath and a big trend. This is only trended today. When it trended down, it was nasty. When it trended up, it was gentle. But the down is still ruling the day for SPR. I'll leave in the Rivian break because it's still at 1985. There's a chance for the market to bounce here and for it to get up. But that's a $20 breakout. I'm not getting in unless it breaks 20. If it gets under VWAP, I'm canceling that order. Don't want the breakout if it's looking that bearish, but I'm looking to enter SPR here. Still not trailed out of Palantir, which is okay. My target on AI, I want to get off this lower high. AI is a patented SSR bounce, and I don't necessarily think it gets all the way to the low of the day. It's already down so much, and if you look at it on the daily, it's pretty much right at previous support levels. I think that's an easy target there in front of that 28.5 here on C3 AI.
Okay. We got out of Tesla, so Tesla broke. We talked about breaking 32s, and that was going to be it. So it broke 231.89, whatever was our out. So there's the stop out right there. Looks like it does want to head to the downside, so we'll stay away from Tesla. It's only down 2%. It's not the end of the world here by any stretch of the imagination. I think you can get down into 228 though, but let's wait. I mean, the market there. See, this is why you got to get out. When your trade is not right, you got to get out, and that's what we're doing. So hopefully that can still fade out a little bit. Our AMC is not moving. We talked about some Google trading here. I don't know. It's still continuing to go to the downs. We don't have very many shares here, but I guess regardless of how many shares you have, you don't want it to be a loser. So let's take out a little bit here at 70. Oh, it just put an offer at 70 and it went down a little bit there. So hopefully we can get that fill back at that 70 level. But there it goes, man. It is absolutely cranking right now, back down to the downside. We did want to, I mean, this is the thing. We already bought that 130 dip. You can see where we're long. We're long at 130.76. We did have some average buys in here and whatnot. So lucky that it came right back, but it didn't really get going. Only got to 31.50, and then it really just respected this 200 period. And that's what it's doing right now again, right? So it did break it a little bit, but there it is right there. Still some downside pressure here for Google. AMD's not really going down. I mean, it's fine. We're short. We got out. Well, we're not out. We're out of half already. Waiting for lower, man. If we can get a 101 even fill, that would be great. And then a break lower than that, hopefully that can come in. I am bidding 20s because we actually missed. I thought we got filled at 15, but we didn't. So I'm going to wait for a 101.20 fill. Hopefully that can come in. And then here it comes. And then we can, did we just get it there? No, we did not. And then we'll be able to take a little bit of pressure off this name. Look, it's a 20-cent winner. It's already in the 1-to-1 risk to reward. We told you where our out was going to be 60. We're short at 40. So, you know, give a little bit of slippage, 20, 25 cents. Right now, this trade, there we go, we got filled at 20. This trade is right now 25 cents in the
ES new low.
ES new low.
ES
so,
new low.
That's what I like to hear,
and
man.
3 handles from 44. The NASDAQ's at low of the day. Here we go to the chart, guys. NASDAQ's at low of the day here. You do have just underneath here maybe 25 handles or so on the NASDAQ. You do still have some lower resistance or support levels, I suppose, from a couple of days ago. But the ES is already carried through. If it breaks 4,400, you want to look for places to add. I forgot all about one name here. I was going to talk Intel, but Marvel. Marvel, they report tonight. I just don't see any chance. Look, what would Marvel have to report given the fact that Nvidia's pulled back the way that they did off the report that they had? Really? Like, what's Marvel going to do? They're already down that 6%. But if you look at where we are here, if it doesn't hold 56 support, that is a nasty gap fill potential for it. So it's definitely possible. If the market continues down, you still have $1.50 before you get to that support level on Marvel. If that happens, I'll kick myself if I am not short. I did reverse into the short at 60 and then got out. I got out at 58.5 and then tried to engage short again at 58.5. And at that point, I'm like, no, man, the market's making higher lows. That's not the point at which I should have been making that bet. Now that we're back underneath and making lower highs, lower lows, at least for the afternoon. Got that nasty wick on Marvel. I'll show you there. I like the short down here. It doesn't have to always be a breakdown of the bottom. The market's not moving rapidly enough to the downside, at least not yet, that I think you can't get a pop into previous resistance. So Marvel, maybe over Intel, still going to like that short trade. Somehow Palantir does not want to come out. It'll be weird to be short C3AI and long Palantir and still holding on to this while it doesn't seem to want to trail me out. But that's Palantir. It'll move gentle till it stops. And when it's not moving gently, believe me, I have a trailing stop underneath 30 here. Mullen, I thought if it got down to VWAP, there could be a nice little scalp play here, maybe 75, 76, scalp that into 80, 82, see if it makes that run to $1. I will not leave this one alone. I'm going to have that level 2 up because in the back of my mind, I think somebody's going to try and run this to $1 at the end of the day. As long as it holds up here, I'm completely convinced that those buyers are going to try to close it above $1 because that is the game in town right now. And I see almost no way they'll pass up that opportunity. So let's go for that. SPR in, looking for my Marvel as well. If you have any small caps in the chat that you want to throw out there that are moving, I want something that can be almost immune to the market move, so you can trade it on its own, because we all know we like some big tech and some chip names to the south side right now. The question comes down to, can you find something counter trend that you can trade on its own, whether it's a breakout, whether it's a high flyer? You guys let us know. But it's already 245. That actually happened pretty quick.
I'm gonna say, let's go AMD. I just got some water there, so it's exciting. I guess you were just gonna throw it to Frank.
He's here.
Oh, he's here.
Isn't
Okay,
he?
great. I think, I don't know, is he ready?
Well, I think.
All right, I just want to say, guys, we just got to cover on there on AMD down in the 90s. So we got $100.90 was our last fill there. So now this trade is finally starting to work out. As your boy flips the switch, man, we finally decided to go short. Like, it's not too late, is it? All right.
Never too late to join the trend.
No, so we're part of that right now. Let's go over to the big desk now with Brendo and Frank.
Oh, good timing. Ramin was making some adjustments to the camera there. Frank Cabrera, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago, back with us to tee up what is going to be, or potentially could be, Frank, one of the most important days of the year coming up tomorrow. I don't want to put too much emphasis behind this because we really don't know. We have seen, a pretty negative reaction today to, let's be honest, a few hawkish comments coming from Fed officials already today. A little bit contradictory depending on who you're listening to, but for the most part, we're still hearing that higher for longer, and hey, we might even need some more rate hikes before the end of the year to come. What do you think so far as the Jackson Hole Symposium goes?
Yeah, I hope that we're not setting this up too big only to be let down by essentially a non-event. It seems like the more we prepare for a non-farm or an FOMC, sometimes it lets us down, Brendan. But thankfully, already seeing some price action around the event. So you have to think the headliner tomorrow morning with Fed Chair Powell is going to bring us something. The trend has been rates higher, dollar higher, stocks wanting to bounce back, but definitely giving up some ground today, obviously, and over the course of the last couple of weeks. Tomorrow, Fed Chair Powell will speak in the morning. We went over earlier in the week, Brendan, a little bit of what you might expect in terms of, talk about inflation, maybe talk about the regional bank crisis here in the U.S., but I want to go straight to where we're at with the U.S. economy, what we know he's going to comment on, and what could shift markets, and then from here go to what happened last year, because I thought you brought up some great points about how last year's speech really set off a chain reaction in interest rates and stocks. And it's, obviously he's not going to hike interest rates tomorrow, but what he says about the current environment might lead to hikes, which, could lead to bearish or bullish action in the stock market. But where we're at right now, as you just saw there, is, a 5.5% Fed funds rate. That's the short-term overnight rate that the Fed actually moves around. You have a 45% chance of another hike here in 2023. And that's up from when we spoke on Tuesday. That's up significantly, almost double what the chances were a month ago, and really just edging closer to 50-50 shot of another hike here this year. And then we have in 2024, Brendan, the projected interest rate at 4.5%, so expecting some rate cuts next year. And then you have the 2-year and 10-year rate hovering in the mid to high fours. Why would I give you the expectations and the current interest rates, knowing that Fed Chair Powell isn't going to hike or cut interest rates tomorrow? Well, all of those expectations are likely to change. And those changes in expectations are really what can set off chain reactions in the market. As we'll go into here in a second, historically, it's not necessarily that stocks don't like high interest rates, Brendan. It's that stocks don't like any change to expectations or where they view things. And I think what you're seeing right now is a little bearish activity off of, just like you say, Fed chair representatives talking about how we might actually hike a little bit more than you think. And it's not necessarily that idea of high rates, Brendan. It's higher than expected, right?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, a full point, as you said, some cuts to come potentially as far as the market is concerned coming up next year, and that's a full percentage point. So break that down however you want to, get there. But that's not nothing. That's not just one or maybe two. It could be, but it's a lot. Let's talk a little bit about what happened last year. As we were saying, very negative for stocks coming out of this event specifically, and some of the comments that were made by Fed Chair Powell around this event. I went back, and it was actually a Friday morning as well last year when we heard this same note. But here's a great chart as far as the 10-year is concerned as to what happened on the same day for interest rates.
Yeah, and you'll remember that last year's major interest rate hikes, we climbed up to above 3 and then 4% in September and November of last year. And you see I have circled there, the mid to later part of August, and that correlates with this symposium again. And this has been the Fed going back to Yellen and now on to Powell, which is speaking before the action actually occurs. And you see right there, interest rates in the mid part of 2022 got up to 3%. Everybody kind of thought, all right, this is the high. We're going to maybe bounce around between 3, 2.75, 3, 2.5. And then the symposium comes out last year. Fed Chair Powell, alludes to the fact that, inflation's still high and we're still worried about it. And we're looking at more hikes. And then later on in the year, they hike 75 basis points in Sep, 75 basis points in November. But you saw this reaction set off before those hikes. And, not necessarily calling for this to happen again, but just showing you that sometimes the event that doesn't even have the action can really be a lot more volatile than the action itself. At least that's been the trend over the last several years. And I wanted to highlight the action in stocks as well around this time, because again, you're seeing the correlation of high interest rates, low stocks in this part of 2022 coming out of last year's Jackson Hole Symposium. But again, it's not necessarily that it's high rates. It was the fact that the market was comfortable with 3%. And you can see in the summer of 2022, bounced back from those S&P lows that they had put in May, because they got comfortable with not necessarily, the fact that interest rates were moving higher and higher, but okay, they're high. And we're okay with 3%. And now it feels like we've been lulled into a little bit of this, okay, 5% is it. And any changes to that could freak out this market, especially to the upside here in interest rates. And that'll be what's really interesting and why I paint those expectations as they are now, which is, 5.5% where we're at, maybe one more hike, because that's what could really shock the system. It's the change to expectation, not the high rates themselves. Because you go back to the 90s here and you have just sustained growth from the stock market with, 6 to 7 to 8% interest rates back then. And of course, context changes and everything else. But what you really see here in this 10-year span of 1990 to 2000 is interest rates bouncing back and forth, staying in a range, and expectations around where that interest rate environment not shifting too much. And the stock market gets comfortable with that and can build on that. Where we start to see stocks slipping is when those environments really shift. And right now we're still kind of mid-shift. Last year, 4% became the new 3%. This year, 5% is becoming the new 4%. And you're seeing stocks slip the last couple of weeks as potentially 6% becomes the new 5%. And I think that's what people will really be watching Fed Chair Powell for tomorrow is, will interest rates get higher than 6%? Any allusion to one interest rate hike and we're feeling comfortable, then the stock market's priced that in. They'll feel okay with that. But anything past that, multiple hikes on the table, core inflation is still a big fear that we're monitoring for the next year plus, really will shift those odds that we began the segment here with and start to not only price in more hikes, but price out that 4.5% expectation for next year make it look more like 5%, maybe even 6%. And the stock market won't like those changes necessarily.
Yeah, let's talk about not only what to expect as far as stocks are concerned, but maybe what to expect as far as the dollar is concerned, what to expect as far as currencies in general across the board are concerned if we get that reaction from the overall market. I sat down here at 2 o'clock with Sharif and said to him, it almost seems like people are selling into what they're expecting to be a negative reaction tomorrow. Again, no guarantees that that is going to be the outcome when we get these comments tomorrow, but it seems like the market at least expects that. So give us a rundown here as far as what to expect for currencies in general, maybe yields even if we do get that reaction.
Yeah, it's become a pretty much a one-for-one move of any talk of hawkish interest rate activity or higher interest rates than expected has led to U.S. dollar strength. Of course, that can change, but obviously, if the U.S. central banker is talking about U.S. rates being higher, that could probably lead to U.S. dollar bullishness. But also, you're getting this doubling effect of not only U.S. dollar seeing some strength from U.S. central bankers talking up U.S. rates, but the fear that that's creating in the stock market is also lifting that U.S. dollar that has become somewhat of a fear gauge. And so you're seeing pound down 100 pips here today, yen down another 100 pips, huge moves going into the event. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the Nvidia move from the last 48 hours or so, where they rally Nvidia up going into earnings, has a great earnings and opens higher and then gives back some of that ground. I do wonder at what point, is pricing in all of this dollar bullishness, stock bearishness, interest rates moving higher here, going into Fed Chair Powell. How much more can he do to move that market in the same direction? At this point, you would think, since they've already kind of priced in this sentiment, this higher interest rate, higher US dollar, lower stocks, he would have to come out and really speak directly to multiple interest rate hikes to push that ball even further. I do wonder how much is priced in, similar to that really interesting Nvidia move from the last couple of days. They rally that stock up, rally it up, and then great earnings. It rallies post-market and then kind of comes back to unchanged at the end of today's early morning session. It'd be really interesting to see, especially if they continue to push in this same direction, stocks lower, dollar higher, all the way up into the event. If he comes out hawkish and they make maybe one last ditch effort, can it come back after the fact? It'll be a really interesting end of the week here.
Yeah, big expectations, to say the least, on not only what he's going to say, but the reaction, I think, to follow to a point where, we'll obviously be here to, bring everyone what is being said while it's happening. But is it almost too much in the sense that, if there's an overreaction, you might get that same move, in the opposite direction and then a reversal even. But who knows? Remains to be seen. The next stop then obviously comes in a couple of weeks when we get this CPI print. Does he indicate tomorrow, maybe what is to come in a couple of weeks then on that CPI number?
Yeah, you have to remember the zigzagging effect that we tend to have here between all of the data and the speeches and everything else. And it seems like the last couple of weeks have been really one direction, like I've just alluded to plenty of times. I don't even need to say it again. You wonder if either today's speech or the next CPI print is a little bit of a reversal of that. Otherwise, some of these Forex markets are toying with getting back to last year's extremes. I mean, undercover, a euro is back to 108. Pound is back to 126. I mean, yen is almost back to those 20-year extremes that we saw last year. And obviously, interest rates are making new highs. And so if this speech doesn't give kind of the zig to the last couple of weeks zag, maybe inflation will, maybe non-farm will. But it's been pretty much one direction the last couple of weeks. And yeah, you wonder at this point if Fed Chair Powell is so aware of that he lightens up a little bit tomorrow. Really anything on the table hopefully just getting some good price action.
10 a.m. Friday morning, we'll get Fed Chair Powell on the microphone. Great stuff as always. Frank Caberna is Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Great to see you.
Thanks, Brennan.
Sir, thank you very much, Frank. I'm telling you right now, Frank has the ability to move markets. I think we've all known this for quite some time now. But he mentioned Nvidia exactly when Nvidia was taking out that 480 level. I don't know if it was exactly to the moment, but it was pretty darn close to it. Nvidia took out 480. It was heading downside. It bounced off 478, and then Frank said, "I'd be remiss not to mention the Nvidia move." Nvidia snapped right back up. If I lose today on Nvidia, it should be to the short side. At least that's the way I'm thinking about it. But it is now battling that 480. I'm pretty sure, I'm going to keep saying the 40 level, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a bet up there from Bears versus Bulls. And the only thing in question would be, can Nvidia close above or below 480? Like, that's kind of been this line in the sand. It was that big level from the other day. It broke out, obviously, yesterday through 40. And then today, it tried to bounce a couple of times there. We're now battling that same level. All roads seem to lead right back into Nvidia 480. For the moment, I'm kind of hoping it's short, but I'm not even that convinced. I will kick myself for going here instead of to what was the original idea. Now, 40 breakdown, fine, but 177 on Apple. This is what happened in that 177. It wicked underneath just barely, and then insta-bounced off that 177 in Apple. Maybe we get down there again and have a chance for that bounce. But you talk about a wick underneath and a recovery, that was perfect. But Nvidia 480, it's been the jam today, so let's see if it is again.
All right, let's enter into Power Hour. Neil mentioned that bottom at 478. I mean, we're cooking. We got that bottom. So we punched short 480. There it is. We actually got a good fill, 479.85. So we give about 15 cents worth of slippage, but that's really great. Our first out was $1, 479 flat. Then our next out was 478.65. So that's $1.20, $1.30 or so. And then it just popped back up and we just reshorted it again. So yeah. Let's go. I mean, this is what we're talking about. So here it comes breaking back down. We're now back in the money on this trade. So hopefully it will just continue to be that way. And then I'm bidding right now at the low of the day. I'm bidding right here. Actually, I'm bidding 476 flat. So the low of the day on Nvidia is 475. So let's see if we can get down there. You know, it has the ability to do that. And then, of course, you know, oops.
Hola. Like and subscribe today.
Well, no matter what, you should be liking and subscribing anyways. But we did this again. We reloaded it. I'm reloaded! Right there. So take out some more profit. So far this afternoon, despite you know how we're feeling, we've given some pretty decent winners right now. So there we go. We'll take some more profit. It comes back into 20. We take it, and we just took a 25. But remember, this could still break. So we're being very, very careful about all of that. And look what just happened right now. Nvidia just made a move all the way back up again.
It's bouncing.
So maybe the NASDAQ wants to bounce, and we're just going to be wrong, and it's going to go up the rest of the day. But we have our outs. And the NASDAQ right now is dancing with the 50 period. It's been here before, so it's not like we haven't seen this just in the last 2 minutes. This is a 1 minute chart. You know, I'm thinking that like, I might switch up to put the NASDAQ on a 2 minute chart because maybe it's just, if I'm gonna try to hold things a little bit longer, I need to see things a little bit differently on a longer time frame.
I like a 15 on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah, I have it. I mean, I have a 30 up here and I have a 5.
Oh, you already have a long one? Yeah, I see.
This is a 30 period right here. And this is definitely not giving us too much love here on the NASDAQ. It looks like it's trying to break again. That very bottom is all the way down, so that's going to be a good one. So far, just get filled on something? No? Okay. Just watching out for that. So yeah, now we're watching out to see if the NASDAQ does it. But we're in the power hour. Wouldn't be surprised if some of these stocks start to bounce a little bit, but we have our outs and we're ready for those. So if it does bounce, I think we're protected. But it's bouncing now.
I gotta get to, I did tell you guys I had a trailing stop in Palantir. It was the only long I had. That wick got me out. That was pretty much the exact, was it the exact moment that, it might have been right when Nvidia broke 480.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Like that wick trailed me out of Palantir, which makes all the sense in the world. Everything, most things tick down at that moment. So the long is done on Palantir, but it's not really moving that much. So it's always a chance that this could, look, if it consolidates here and the market bounces, I almost want to be back into the Palantir long. I do have my eyeballs on Apple here and that 177 level as it gets back down. The first time is a charm. The second time is a maybe. We'll see what happens. If it wicks the bottom again, I might take that shot, but it's almost like you should get it the first time and not worry about it time 2 and time 3. Max Scott in the chat is saying VFS.
Again?
I don't want to move from Mullen because I still think Mullen's going to make that move. And I want to be ready just in case I see something. VFS, I mean, pushing 48 to 50 on this stock isn't really that big a deal. Like, it does $2, no problem. Its high of the day is 58 today, so it's like $9 away from the high of the day. It's a lot of room to the high of the day on this name, so I think I'd be paying attention to, like when it breaks into a new range, maybe that's a little bit more important. Something along those lines we can dig into. What else? There was also Meta. I haven't really traded Meta, missing some data. The 290 level on Meta is looking really good. It's not moving as much as some other names, but 290 for the last, I'd say 30 minutes or so, has been a bit of a wall. If it breaks out above there, I think you're looking for a breakout long. Maybe that's the NASDAQ breaking 15,000. Otherwise, scalp trades off 90 have been pretty solid, as you are in a bit of a range here. And that gives you an entry, a couple of wicks above, risking about an extra 10, 15 cents there, but it's giving you $1 or so back into the downside off that even $290 on META, Meta to the Meta.
All right, we had a bad, I think I didn't set my out properly. We got out once it broke 60, and we didn't want that. We wanted 70. We talked about these levels up here. So we're back into AMD short. So if you see me back into this, that is why. It's a different price, so we took the loss on it. So if it does come back down, our average price was 101.49 or something like that. So now we have a little bit better price, 59, but let's see if it comes back down. That was just a bad execution by me. I put the wrong price, so you know, that's fine. We're back in it. We're always gonna, if you make a keystroke error, I feel like it's always worth getting back in as long as, you know.
Or out if you accidentally got
or out, whatever way it is. Yeah, exactly. All right, wow, we got out of Tesla. That actually looped down to 231.20 there. Now it's starting to break again. Did I get the reload there? No, I didn't. So I was waiting here at 81s again. Missed it. I don't know how I missed it. I just put it in like a minute ago.
It printed?
No, it printed for sure.
It went to 75, I saw in the last minute.
For what?
Not Nvidia.
No, but didn't go. No, I was on 481.
Oh, at 81 even.
Yeah, 481. It was there. I didn't have my order until it was too late because I already had one refresh right there, and I wasn't sure. But when I saw that Nvidia move, when I saw this move go down, let's go right now. We'll go into the gates of hell. Bring it down, AMD. Honestly, dude.
Market is flush.
Yeah, hopefully the market can flush. Well, it is kind of flushing.
Nvidia's back to 79. I grabbed something out in front of 79 there. I'm going to try to clean this up at some point, but I got a lot of bad wicks on my Nvidia chart, and it's on my 3-minute too. Usually I would just do this, but I got all the same stuff happening on that chart as well. So Nvidia is coming back into the downside. That means Apple is a threat to that 177. Here it is. Again, another bad wick there. Here it is, that 177. It just tagged it. Last time it broke 177 and then came back above. This time it touches exactly the even and is bouncing here. So on the chance it makes the move, I want to have a stop set just in case underneath the fresh low. And if there's a bounce to be had, I want to risk pennies to try and get that move back into 177.5. That Meta, obviously with the market coming down, I'm on the offer to try and grab it, but if the market has to come back up to pick me up there on Meta. Apple 177 is the next. Down 2.25% today. I feel like if there was a bet to have been made,
Apple?
If you would come in, I'm trying to think of what are the odds I would have given that Apple could go down to. Like I'm not surprised that Nvidia can give up the move. We expected volatility on it. I didn't necessarily think Apple would be the name to outpace the market to the downside out of Big Tech.
I agree.
There's no chance I saw Apple down 2.2 with NASDAQ down 1.6. I'm not going to get any fills down here, it looks like, underneath 10, but I'm going to go for it and try. Next time dips underneath 177.10, look to get picked up, give it just underneath 176, and then look for the little bit of a scalp trade back into the upside. I'm trailing C3AI out. That's not something we entered to. Like I was already sitting in that stock to the short side for this entire time. It's not really near that low of the day again. I want it down to 28.5. When it gets there, I got to zoom back out. When it gets there, then I'll get out. I've been short here after it made this wick high through 29.5, looking for it to get to 28.5.
All right. What's up? Was it Ponzi or someone said, come on, Sean, make the Lambo trade? I mean, I'm short the chip names. I mean, what else should I be doing?
Buy Robitussin stock.
Yeah, exactly. Buy some Robitussin, yeah.
No, buy stock in.
Oh, you know what? Look, I forgot I have some holes right here.
It's all about the Tussin.
Yeah, you get that
Rub some tussin on it, and you'll
get
be
that
absolutely
lean.
fine.
You guys know what lean is out there?
Oh, don't even start with the. Oh boy.
I don't know. I don't even know. That's cough syrup, I think.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm gonna have a Halls here.
They don't. Nobody here. Hopefully,
Get
nobody
down,
in this chat
Nvidia.
knows what the lean is. I really hope.
Maybe I shouldn't be yelling. All right, I do have hot tea here, but I did refresh it with a Trader TV Live water bottle right now. Stupid Randy. Okay, here we. Hallelujah. Wrong one. There we go.
Oh, those are all the bad ones.
You know what, market? This is what happens sometimes. Nice downside move here finally. We finally go with the trend, and now it's pay dirt right here. So we just refreshed AMD. We just got another piece out. I'm still here at 476.25. So, you know, if the market wants to go, it should go. By the way, we're also printing on AMD. We just got a sweet fill right there at 18. It did what? It went down to low as 07. Oh, I'm at 01. Wow, this is honestly a pretty, yeah, good word there, man. I think this is a pretty wild day. I mean.
But I was just bidding Nvidia, and
I know.
it tagged, like it bounced $1 off an order. Like it just like you bid at the next level. This is ridiculous because I'm trying to show this level. Look at my chart. I'm trying to show these levels here in Nvidia, but these wicks make the scaling a little bit of a mess. But it just got down to the local bottom, which is 478. You know, throw a bid out at 478, then it bounces $1 off of the level. Like instantly, it bounces $1. But that's just it floating, 78 to 79 back and forth.
You just have to sit there and don't even put an aggressive order. Just
leave your order.
Leave. That's how I got filled the first time at 478.30.
Put an order out and leave the order in.
Yep.
That's where they're flying around. So Apple did the over/under thing. It got underneath again. I'll zoom in. So maybe
That was
look a
how
little
many
better.
shares do I have?
I'll zoom in. So it got underneath. It got back up above. I'm long at 05 half, so rounded up to 06. And all I'm looking for is a pop back into 177 half here. So if it gets to the quarter, I want to get stuff out on the way up. This is a trend down move, and it's a scalp trade. I want some at 1-to-1. I want some in front of the quarter. I want all out into here. Scalp trade off the 177. It was much better the first time. Well, that goes without saying because the first time would be over with and you would have already put the money in your pocket. But I didn't get it the first time because that's when Nvidia made that breakout. Again, the second, just leave orders in.
Put your order there. Just leave it.
No, I did,
Where are you at?
and then I repriced it.
But where are you at now?
Oh, now I'm at 18.
Okay, let's see.
I know. Check that 16. No, I moved it.
Oh,
I
whatever
was
the
at
price.
18.
Okay, let's just
It
see.
didn't fill me. I moved to 16. So let's see if it goes. Nvidia's going okay. AI is doing okay. There was something else I wanted to be looking at. Oh, Mullen. Mullen's starting to come back down. So just watch out for VWAP on Mullen. 80 cents has some support on it for Mullen if you're watching it. I'm looking for some kind of a late day push
Neil.
to be able to join.
Oh.
Nope, it's not going to fill.
It's going to fill.
We'll see. It's holding at 177.
It's
Again,
holding.
if it breaks the low of the day, I'm going to be out.
Apple. Oh, that's
I'm
not
going to be
about
low.
Nvidia.
Not Apple. No, not Nvidia. I'm talking about Apple.
Nvidia almost broke 478.50, so I thought you were going to. Oh, I thought you were bidding 478.16.
No,
You're talking about Apple.
I'm offering Apple.
Ah.
It's all the same.
So then let me clarify what I was
All the
saying.
same. Oh,
You
yeah,
don't.
You're right.
Yeah, just for everybody out there, I feel like if you're putting in orders here on Apple, on Nvidia, just have them sitting there because, like, what happens is that someone just markets down, or they just limit down like 100 shares. All of these ones here, they're just 100 shares. They're just a board lot. So it might even be less than 100 shares, right? Like there's a lot of shares going through here less than 100. So if someone wants 1,000 shares short, you want to be bidding here because see, like right there. It's like now, what did I just get filled on? AMD. Like, don't tell me I had an Nvidia bid there because I don't. Like right there, if you want a 479.05, don't put it now. Like, it might just run away from that. You want to be sitting there so that when it flushes down, that you're just sitting there and it just picks you up. You don't want to add to the order book all the time, but that's just us trading here live. Probably a lot different on the retail side. I wouldn't necessarily worry about it, but
Well, we've known that for a time.
yeah, I'm just saying like people that are on Robinhood and like.
Well, you got to know.
I don't know how it works there.
You have a different issue with those orders, right?
Yeah.
Because
like we're direct market access. That's a difference. So Neil and I can choose from over like 70 different gateways.
yes.
You know.
Rex.
Yeah, Frex, Fox River, that's a good one. As long as I told you don't use it in the pre-market.
I know it's a good thing to know.
All right,
This
so
might work.
Look, let's just review this. We've made a lot of money back here this afternoon, and it's because we just follow the damn trend, and we made it pretty simple. We're able to. I cannot believe we have that tick there, which was ridiculous, but we got back in, so it's thank God it's fine. Like imagine I didn't. But here it comes. Let's see if AMD. I feel like its home is below 101 today. I'm surprised it's down 7.5%. Even on my way to work today, I was like, oh man, I didn't get enough AMD down near the bottom. I actually didn't bottom pick anything. The best bottom pick I got was Tesla at 240, and it's below that, right? So that wasn't great, but I wanted to bottom pick on Nvidia if and when it goes there. It looks like there it is, Neil.
I just got my fill.
Money.
All right, here we go. Here we effing go.
Here's
But yeah.
I'm out because we keep bouncing off the lows on both the NASDAQ and the ES. I did get that first fill on Apple. I just cleaned up this entire chart and this one wick just came back. I hate these dark pool wicks sometimes. But it's a very, very tight stop here on Apple. I want to respect it. Nvidia did get down. Is this one going to look better? There's some wicks on Nvidia too. That's a little bit better. You have these in here, but it got down to the 478. Let's see what happens. This is where, on the first breakdown, this is where it got to with 78. So if it bounces here, fair enough, reload. If it holds underneath, reload that. Marvel's about to take out and make a fresh low as well, so I will watch out for Marvel. I feel like if this takes out to 78, there's still room to 76 even. There goes 78. Apple's still holding, which is not a bad sign. Guess that's a good thing, but all roads are leading to following whatever Nvidia is doing. I think the scalp trade's the way to go. It's 3:16. We got 40 minutes left in the day. We have 15 minutes to the early look. We got 35 minutes to the imbalances. I will be checking out J&J and Kenvue again, but we'll get to that at the end of the day because, at the end, realistically, that trade is very gimmick and it didn't even come out the right direction yesterday. So there was nothing to be seen with that massive Kenvue J&J thing. We'll have to wait to see if it happens again. Here comes Mullen. I'm not guaranteeing that buyers will step up into it. I'm more saying if there are buyers that try to push this to $1, I just want to start joining it. It's starting to fall like a rock again. I wish I was still short. But I'm off that mode. I'm kind of looking for that late bounce that I was unwilling to play yesterday because they did manage to make a good effort yesterday. And now you're a little bit closer. So if it were to push, it has a better chance.
What was that stock? Hey, what's up, Kevin Black? Better. I looked it up. BETR. What is the symbol? We don't have it.
So it was a SPAC. AURC turned into better, and it's not on our on our system today. It's a day one. Sometimes these get missed.
We better get it.
You know what? If no one puts a ticket in, I'll message Frank.
We'll find out. So unfortunately, we do not have that. But right now, we are now $3 in the
Money.
All right, you know what?
Money.
I'd feel really stupid not getting out of some of this on Nvidia right now. We are at 476.25, but honestly, I mean, do we want to reward ourselves right now? We'll do it. We'll barbecue up a $3 winner right there, and then just hold the rest. I mean, we still got on half actually. We still got on half of this position. We just got out at 477.11 right there. So yeah, man, we're taking our medicine here with the market to the short side. And it's just like, it's about damn time, like you sit here with blinders on in the morning and just looking to go long Nvidia, and then you smarten up. Excuse me. Then you smarten up and you go short, and the rest hopefully is history. Let's see if it does take down this 475. I feel like we could hold this until the end, but let's try to be a little smart with it. I don't know. Do we want to use the teal here? Trust the teal? What about just getting out if we break back above 481? We've actually made a decent amount of money here. Like, if we're going to get out at 481, that's 70 cents worth of risk for $3 we just took. Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, where is the NASDAQ here? I mean, we already looked at this. The NASDAQ is breaking lower right now. Like, can we not just break through 14,920 and take out these wicks right now? And then, do we have that? No, it's not 330 yet. I was going to say, do we have that number yet? The imbalances are probably going to be the sell side, right? I mean, the NASDAQ's down pretty good here. What is the ES down? ES down 0.93 as well. So yeah, things getting hit right now. It's almost turn over the contract, right, in September, third week in September, I think.
Yeah,
so,
we're about like
so we're a little ways away from that. So what's been going up, basically? Again, we only have 25% left. It's going to look ridiculous because it's been barcoding, and plus we have the split there. So it's going to be hard to show you. But AMC is starting to go a little bit back up, but honestly, the amount of shares I have compared to Like I have 9 times the shares on AMD than I do on AMC right now. So hopefully AMD can make that move to the downside. We just got a great fill, man. If you don't put your orders out, and I'd say this kind of tongue in cheek, but it's serious, like you got to put these orders out because there's so many random wicks everywhere that if I don't have that there, I don't get that fill. And just even now, like I have a 10107 fill. Obviously, look where it is now, 20 cents. That's going to make a big difference, right? So, you know, have your orders out there and make sure that, I'm going to put another one right now down there. You just want to make sure you have them because you just don't want to screw something up, you know, like, oh, it went all the way down there and I didn't have an order out. Like, what was I thinking? First of all, we just put another order at 15 and got it. So I'm going to put one now at like 86, just because I think that's maybe where we could go here on Nvidia, on AMC, because it's right there. That's the bottom. Let's go see if we can retest it as Nvidia is still $3 in the money. I feel like we've done really good for everybody here this afternoon. So thank you for watching and thank you for continuing to support the stream. 470, all right. 480 break. Sorry, we'll get out of a little bit more. I don't really want to. What is that? What is that source? BRKR?
I don't know what that is.
You can go on Neil's screen. I don't know what that is.
So I actually, this is weird because I actually don't know what this is. So I don't want anyone to. It just we're getting like, I haven't seen this on our locator before. We're getting a source of BRKR on our locator. So it's like floor brokers showing an indicated big buy imbalance on Kenvue and sell imbalance on J&J. And then the other thing is Applied Auto Parts is supposed to be a big ad, and it's showing a sell imbalance. So I'll keep those in mind. That's not something maybe it's new. I haven't actually seen it before. That's the first time. We are expecting, like I forget which index. I think it's it's one of the S&Ps. Let me just get it right for you. It is the S&P Competition Index. Advanced Auto Parts is supposed to be a big buy. And then Kenvue, you know, that's every single day you have something. It's a total market index. Kenvue's getting added to, and then J&J is being downweighted. So Apple was making its bounce. It was looking good. And we got the 10s, we got the 12, I told you we got 14s. We got some out at 22, love that number. And then it cannot make that next push to the upside. Again, gimmick trade. Wicks underneath 177, holds 176 and 95, get long on the way back through, and then scalp it, give it to the low. At this point, you don't even want to give it to the low. Just, you know what, if it's going to break 177 here, it probably actually gets even lower than that. So after 2 times it wicking underneath this and bouncing, putting lower highs in, now if it just breaks the even, I'm getting out. Wouldn't fight it. That's 1 wick under bounce. That's 2 wicks under bounce. 3rd time is not going to be a charm as far as I'm concerned. Still, C3AI doesn't seem to want to fill. It's getting there. It's getting there. Not quite there just yet. I think it's going to probably fall and get us. So the way the market's going down, it should. But I'm not going to reload Apple a 3rd time. Not going to happen. I can't really pronounce that name. Antarctic Host? Something like that. Why did the NASDAQ drop so strong today?
Why not?
So I'm going to, look, I don't want to be that person that predicts or says why a market move happens, because you're always sort of talking after the fact what you think the catalyst is. Nvidia had blowout earnings, and they got sold off. That's it. Nvidia had blow-off earnings, massive earnings. They got sold off. You had Jackson Hole starting. We talked about how last year Jackson Hole was literally the beginning of a big downward trend that ended up getting to fresh lows on the NASDAQ. Well, Jackson Hole starts, Nvidia blows it out, and still sells off anyways. So that's the only explanation I can come up with for you. It's probably the one you're going to hear from just about everybody else, because that's the only thing you can look forward to. Their earnings were great. I mean, the guidance was insane, and still, Nvidia ended up going back all the way which it came. I am now out of C3I. We finally got our target. That's been slowly grinding down pretty much all afternoon. No real acceleration, but it does finally move that dollar. Apple is going to come out the second we make a fresh break underneath that 177. And as a matter of fact, if we make a fresh low, that's 95, I'm going reverse in at 176.95 is the current low. If it makes a new low, I'd actually reverse it.
So whoever was out there that wanted a Lambo trade, I mean, this is $5 in the money. So however many shares you have, I don't think you're going to afford a Lambo, but nice move to the downside right now, and it does take out our 476.25. So I did give up there, I guess, 75 cents by just not being patient enough and getting out there at 477.05, whatever it was. But there it is. I'm debating right now. you know, we have this move basically top here to bottom, right? And it's literally at the bottom of the day right now, Nvidia, and Nvidia is almost negative. So, I mean, look, just to answer some of those questions about Nvidia and why the market is down right now, I mean, are you willing to pay up for this name? And I mean, the PE, I don't even know if it's on here today. The price to earnings is only 240, right? And so, kind of say that tongue in cheek, that's big. And it's just, I could see people today saying, okay, you know, we're in Nvidia, we've made a lot of money on it, let's just get out. And unfortunately, I think more people decided to do that than the other way around. And it's now just getting pushed into the bottom of the day now. It could rebound from here for sure. I just think tomorrow's being a Friday, you're going to be into some problems because if liquidity dries up and Jackson Hole is not as positive as maybe we're hoping that it will be, and maybe a little hawkish on that tone, you had heard from Frank Caberna, go back and rewind at 245, you know, then where do these tech names go? You know, what if he does talk about possibly one more interest hike or something like that, right? One more rate hike. Turkey went to 25% today.
They never raise.
Anyways, yeah, so that's that.
They were a bit of a laughing stock.
Yeah, so we did get an email about that. The source is, I mean, I guess we can talk about it. I don't know.
Why not? It's day trading.
Yeah, it's fine. It's been released now, so it's fine. The new feed can be identified as BRKR. It's a feed coming straight from, you can go to my screen. Why don't we do that? Because I'll be able to show it to you. So here it is right here. The feed is coming straight from the NYSE floor brokers, so that is like pretty much.
Money.
Okay, so that's great. We'll provide users with additional information for the auction close as early as 2 p.m. All right, so it's just NYSE orders. There's nothing else
I
in
only
here.
got it to my other
It
email.
updates every 30 seconds or so. There's some rules about it. All right, that's good. Good to know. Anyway, so right now,
I mean, it's
what you could do is you could actually, I mean, probably the guys behind us are doing this. If they're not, it's pretty easy to do. And maybe it's already here. Paired value. Is there one that there's a total, right? So what you can want to do is you can actually add these up. So you could go the price of Kenvue times 3.4 million shares, and that'll give you an early indication of what there is to sell as dollar-wise, right? And you can sort of do it for everything. You don't want to do it for like all these ones that are like nothing, but you can basically add all of these up, and then you're going to get an early look yourself on what the imbalance is. But we're going to get it anyways at 3:30.
yeah. I mean, that's the
I
thing.
don't-
You
you know.
get it. That's 20 minutes before it comes out, right?
Yeah.
So it's really not that bad in terms of the timing. But yeah, so I'm going to come quickly over. We did get that bounce play on Apple. We get a couple legs that always take profit when you're trading counter trend because the trend is against you, and then have your stop. But I moved my stop a little bit tighter, not giving it to the low of the day because I wanted to reverse at the low of the day on Apple. Mullen might be done. It's 3:30 and there's no buyers stepping into this thing. I don't want to completely give up the notion because they have till 4 o'clock, and you just never know. But there's nothing happening. There's no bid. There's no more than like a couple thousand shares on any level on Mullen, which is pathetic when it's done 300 million. So might have to put that one on the back burner until tomorrow. This market seems to want to hold underneath the lows at this point. So I wouldn't want to bet too far against that. I didn't find any flyers out there that looked like they were going to go to the upside. I kind of was resting on Mullen making a late push to give you a bit of a bounce. The new position for me, got out of the shorts in AI, covered already Nvidia, Apple rolling over through 177. Apple down 2.5%. It's just a shocker to me. I still remain baffled by it, but it doesn't mean you fight it forever. I like to bounce off one level, waited all day till it got there, and it bounced a couple of times, and now you're underneath. If you're looking for a level underneath this, it's 176.25. Just go back a couple of days to Tuesday, and that was a big consolidation bottom, 176.25. I don't think it gets any further than that. Did you actually look at J&J and Kenvue? Are they doing anything?
No, I mean, honestly, man, I could really just care less about it right now because we've got.
Another one.
Well, we've only got two, though, DJ.
Another
We've
one.
got two.
Another one.
$6 in the money right now with Nvidia. So it is pulling back nicely finally. Let's just see. That we could have taken it out at what was the low there? 474 change
free
right
money.
there. That's 476. I feel like we should do this. 476.10. Put an order out. I guess I can get my stop order, which is ridiculously low right now on that one. All right, so I'm just going to put a stop in right now. I don't know if it's going to work. 476.11. I mean, I hope it is. 476 like 30. Let's just see if we can cross it up there. Okay, so there. Now I feel a little safer because we have a protection order in. It's not legal there. In case it does break above, wow, that level. I'm also bidding 472. I mean, just looking at where this chart could go here, yeah, yesterday's close and where we were bouncing around. Remember yesterday we were fighting this long at 470, but that's it right there, 473 kind of before. I mean, we filled the gap of the whole earnings now, right? I mean, Nvidia up 0.74. That's filling the gap. So this is a monster move down. I'm pretty proud to have this. I mean, I'm just glad that we were able to flip it up and we don't, look so foolish going longs all the time on this stock. But here it is. It's a nice downside move coming through for Nvidia. And I don't need anything else. Here it is. Yes, sir. Now it's a $7 winner right now. So we'll go back into these clubs, man, and just keep them going. It's a good trade. It's a nice win. We've been holding on to this for a minute, and it looks like it wants to continue to work. So far, so good here. But that's the second time it bounced off 474. Maybe we just take 474. I mean, we still have more shares to go. I was just trying to be a little bit like cheeky with some of these orders here and try to wait, because if I just kept on taking bids all the way, then I'd be out. So that's fine. We have that stop order up there, but it's a good trade so far. Here it comes all the way to the downside. We just reloaded 481s right about a half hour ago. So the fact that we can make $7 in about 25 minutes is pretty damn good, but it just bounced off 473.80, which was pretty much close enough to Nvidia actually going red. So I think it was 472 or so to close from yesterday. So let's
71.16.
471.60?
16.
16. Okay,
a lot,
so
yeah, so a little bit.
Take
lower.
a 471 right there. So I'm
you gotta remember like how small a percentage $1 is.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't really. That's the thing. Like when I'm trading this, it's a little different for me because we're not normally in these kind of aggressive, crazy moves like this. Did we just get filled? Yes, we did right there. So there it is right now. We'll go diamond hands because today we actually have them. And there it is right now. See ya, Nvidia. Hopefully you can join everybody else in the doldrums. But it's really just this stock that continues to go. I'm actually really
3.5 billion to sell.
Yeah, I'm actually really disappointed that Nvidia or that AMD really hasn't done much here. So
Well, it was already down so much.
yeah, that's the next one to fall. So let's go, man. We're really doing well here.
Plug apparently is moving a little bit, but that's not actually a lot. You have to zoom out a little bit, like that moving a bit. I saw some people saying, plug, arrows up. That's not arrows up. That's a slight move to the upside, which is still running into resistance. But if you didn't hear, 3.5 billion to sell is the current net order imbalance. The early look that we're getting in 15 minutes, you get the real thing. The market is still trending to the downside. Apple broke support, so I like the bounce play, reverse into it. Got to be willing to reverse on these levels. Got to be able to flip the script. Traded around one price and one price only today on Apple, long into the short. It has been a good one, man. Like it was difficult to try to capture shorts at the beginning of the day. I'll be the first to admit it wasn't my first look outside of Intel, but as long as you're able to be profitable and join the trend, it's never too late to join the trend. It's never too late to cover a position that is wrong. It is too late. It's almost too late for Mullen to get above $1. I don't know what's going to happen because it's like if you couldn't get there in the last 2 days, it's like you're never getting there. The stock is not going to make it to $1. Like it went yesterday 40 to 90, and then today 54 to 95. If you don't get to $1 after that crap, forget about it, man. You might have to stick a fork in this. I don't know if they can continue to split their way out of these things because it's absolute nonsense as far as I'm concerned. I see bow in the chat, and hopefully everybody bet red. Sorry, it was not red. It was over under 480. Hopefully you bet under 480 on Nvidia. But Nvidia could be year-end 300. Under 300. I think I'd take that smoke, but it's not impossible. Because in May, we were under 300. Just keep that in mind. In May, we were under 300, and the 200 period moving average is under $300 on Nvidia. That's perspective for you, how big this move has been and how fast. If you're a bull on this thing all year long, you're not even, you're not scared. Who cares? I'd be buying this hand over fist if it got to $300, by the way. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that gets a retracement of about 40% down, I mean, its high was 515, whatever it was made today.
Got to.
wherever it's going by the end of the year, it doesn't really matter to me right now. We're in an $8 winner as this continues to make moves down. I mean, we just covered some at 474. I don't have any problems with any of these covers, man. I mean, I feel like we did really good to even just to get these positions, and then now it's really starting to go to the downside. So again, man, we've just been really, really hitting the NASDAQ here, going short both AMD. Let me see, what is Amazon doing? You see, like this is the thing, man, you got to trade the right names. Amazon's not really doing anything, and neither is Google. So like some of these stocks aren't doing anything whatsoever, you know? So it's nice to see this kind of a move on some of these other names. And we definitely picked the right ones. Like if you just shorted Google, I mean, you've done nothing here, right? As opposed to what this is doing and opposed to what Nvidia is doing as well. So there's some nice downside moves here happening on this market. We did get out, just quickly here, we did get out of our Snowflake position right there, 148.65 when it took down 140, I guess it was 148.60. We still have a small piece on it. Maybe it can get back up to the upside. We still have that out for us on Nvidia, just in case it does get back into 76. Again, right there. We do have a big sell imbalance, 3.5 billion to sell. So, you know, let's just see if that takes effect there at 350. So hopefully that continues to help push some of these names down. I'm just short right now, and I don't think we're going to plan on changing that. So good day today, could be better, but really, you know, the disaster that was this morning has been erased by some decent trades here this afternoon.
Yeah, that's what it's all about ultimately. Before I get to something, I want to talk about this. Great point was made in the chat there just now by Wallace Brown Jr. Look at Oracle daily chart. The price action was predicted yesterday. I'm going to pull up the chart so you can see yesterday specifically, the flash crash that happened on Oracle. Whatever you want to call it. I'm just calling it a flash crash because I don't know what caused it. And it went to essentially $8 in a matter of minutes. But oftentimes that gives you an indication of where the gaps are. When you have a liquidity flush like this, it's telling you that there's people willing to buy at that bottom. That's where the liquidity came in a panic. And when that happens, it can indicate the range for you. So when it fell, like if I was shorting this stock, the target was given to you yesterday when it held around this 113 with bottoms at 112. So where does it bounce for the first time, like the real bounce? Right at the end of the morning, it gets down to where it was yesterday. Sometimes you've just got to pay attention to the tape, and any kind of big, massive liquidity event on a stock is usually an indication of something. Right, like it's telling you something here, and what it was telling you is there weren't a heck of a lot of buy support to the downside in Oracle until it got to 112, 113. So I'm glad you caught that. However, if you want to learn to read tape, you want to learn to trade in general, or prop trade, we are still doing the campus program at Day Trade the World, bringing it up because the deadline for the next session is September the 5th, right after Labor Day, so you can still apply. Check out the QR code below. Why do you want to do it? Because everyone wants to trade real money. Everyone wants to become a trader, have it be their profession, but you've got to learn first. This is an opportunity for you to learn how professional traders trade on a platform for free. You will start in simulation mode. Anybody that gets into the program, you start in sim, you get one-on-one training. You do get the opportunity to eventually go from TMS, which is the training mode here, to potentially live mode with a funded account. The key is putting in the time of effort, qualifying by right now being in Canada, and it is a part-time thing. You do not have to dedicate yourself to it full-time. You just got to be able to put those limited hours in. So anybody that's in Canada, you don't have to be in the GTA or anything like that. You can apply either here or scan that QR code below if you're interested. Day Trade the World Campus. We think it's a good program, and the key point here is it's free. Right? Like nobody's selling anything here. You just got to put the time and effort in after you qualify and then try it out. That's it. Because trading's hard enough without having to put down like $1 bajillion just so that you could lose $1 bajillion when you start out. Here you can get that experience for free.
Yeah, great opportunity for everybody. September 5th, of course. The drop dead date for that.
When Max is back?
Okay, so just real quick here. We already talked about AMD doing a different dance and everything else. Look at AMD starting to go right now. Like, I don't know, it went down to 101. We were waiting for a little bit lower. We had our bids down at 86. We talked, what? Okay, AMD really going, and the funny thing is Nvidia's not. Well, Nvidia's going now, but it's still down to 4. Wow, it just touched 472. Hey, wow. Okay, so that was big, but we don't have so many shares left, so it's okay. We'll get it out when we need to. It's still $7 in the money. Yeah, this is a little puzzling to me. Like, what is going on with AMD? We put some bids here in the 30s. Just there we go, 37s, just to take it out. Still a good trade, but I feel like we could have had a little bit more on this, so that's okay. We'll wait to see coming through. We do have our afternoon show coming for you today. It'll be a good one again, man. It's we're gonna have Michael Nosh is gonna be on the show. I'm just emailing Danielle right now because I think that she said she was gonna come on today, but I'm not 100% sure. So we'll wait to see if she can come through. And then we'll talk to her all about options and what's been happening here with Nvidia today, so on and so forth. Snowflake still $1.33 in the money. I want to check on Amazon. We sort of did that look already, 132. It seems to be a bouncing off spot. You want to just make sure that you note this. I mean, I'll be looking at Amazon tomorrow anyways when we write the sticky notes. So 132 could be a great level. I almost feel like we could fade this level, 133 and change. Let's see where we close today before we make judgments like that. I really like the AMC short, but it's kind of doing nothing all day, all afternoon here. So as you can see, we're just touching through VWAP. Let's just put an order to get out if it breaks 15. I mean, I probably already have that anyways, but we're only short right now at 15.05. Our best out is 13.70, so that was $1.40 or so, $1.35 on AMC and that. Microsoft, let's see what's going on with Microsoft. Yeah. Microsoft down to 320 again. So we talked about those lows of Microsoft being 312. Interesting. Today, nicely done, down 1.8%. I mean, if you think that the tech names need to be, again, like here's me going long again. You know, if there's anything here today, I would say a 320 bounce looks pretty good. So if you get a flush down from Microsoft, maybe you want to sit there at 320. We do like key levels for sure. And nothing that Nvidia said should really affect Microsoft. In fact, you know, they actually just, you know, their guide higher. So a lot of these companies still lining up to buy chipsets, to buy, you know, improve their AI offerings and so on and so forth. So that's good. But I don't have too many other ideas right now. I'm pretty happy with just leaving on Nvidia right now as it's down to 474. We do have our out. I already still have that order in. Oh man, running out of steam. If we break 476 right here is where we want to get out. But look at this teal, man. It's coming way down. We could save ourselves $1 and get out, but then we're out, right?
Oh,
so
red candles.
Let's just see. Yeah, I mean, it's just going down. The NASDAQ is going down, and we have a short name. So I feel fine with this trade.
On the 3-minute, I see 0 green candles since, I mean, obviously since breaking 177 on Apple, since we broke the 15,000 mark on the NASDAQ, on a 15-minute chart, there's 1 green candle. On the ES, I mean, we just broke 44,000 on the ES. That's probably because Apple broke 177. So there's not a heck of a lot bouncing right now. It's outside of plug power, by the way, which I know you guys are talking about. Yeah, it's actually not bad. It's going to the upside, but that's not really screaming or anything like that. Like, it's going, but it's not really going. I feel as if you're looking for a runner. You want something more than 5-10 cents on an $8 stock. But you do want to note when the market is tanking what is bucking the trend. So I wouldn't completely ignore the fact that it's bouncing here. Maybe you look at this tomorrow. It's gotten down to a pretty decent low, some support down here. The market's making fresh lows, and it is bouncing at the end of the day. So maybe there's a relief rally for plug power tomorrow. I don't know. I just think that's the only thing I would do with it right now is look for it for that. But there are a few names that are likely to be interesting at the close. When we show you the imbalances in 7 minutes, nobody freak out. There's going to be a big imbalance on Kenvue, J&J, and Advanced Auto Parts. That's AAP. We already know that's going to be true. I can't tell you which direction they are, but they should be gigantic. We'll sift through that, look what the overall market's going to do. Whoa, that's a big candle. I'm going to cancel the target bid on Apple because it's 343, so you might as well just have a trailing stop instead of sitting on the bid. Let's just let it go and see how far this happens because you're now 1% down on the ES, 2 on the NASDAQ. It's starting to get a little nasty to the downside for just about everything. And even Mullen broke VWAP, so looks like everything's headed to the downside now.
I wanted to say, do we have the earnings board? Okay, because if and when we have that, let's talk about that. Because I know there's a firm coming.
We did it this morning.
Why 10 minutes? Just put it up now if you have it. We'll see if we have it. I just want to see what names are going to be reporting tomorrow. But I know there's a firm coming through just to see some of these plays here into the close. I just want to talk about it. So if we do have that, let's throw it up. Right there, 1370. I just want to see a firm trying to make some big moves here today. We'll see about them. I mean, there's a few names that are obviously, we have JWN as well today that is going to be reporting aftermarket. Wow, that's $17. Wow, wee right now. There it is. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Into it. Oh, Marvel. That was
Marvel's the big one.
I was thinking about. Okay, thank you. That's really all that I need to know. I did know that there was a chip name that we were sort of missing there today. So we'll see about MRVL coming through tonight. In what was
Marvel Affirm and what was the other?
Marvel Affirm, there was Intuit, there was Workday, there was put up again. There was a few other names there.
No, there was some,
it doesn't matter. There it is. Ulta Beauty, maybe Gap.
No, it was Gap and Nordstrom's. It was the retailers because the retailers were moving around a lot. Like that was, if you're not trading the chip names, retail in this earnings session has been absolutely fantastic.
Right, we can get rid of that now.
Get rid of that. That just proves that the QR codes work in there for IG.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we're trying to do is prove that to you guys. Yeah, so it should be exciting. Join us after market, where we'll be going over all of those, man. As soon as it hits, Michael Noss has set up a great trade ideas layout for me, so we can get right away all of those plays. What's up, Brandon?
All right, this segment of the show, guys, brought to you by IG. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay,
Yes.
nice, good.
And we happen to know
That's Frank's IG,
the
right?
director. The director, not
right,
of
the director's
Shield.
in the building.
The director of whatever.
Where'd that go down to? 101.21. Oh, man, what is going on? I thought we could have a nice little flush here. I'm just going to put some more bids on here on AMD. Doesn't look like it really wants to flushy right now on that one, but we'll see. We only have now 5 minutes until those imbalances come out. And again, we could show them to you. We have a new feed here now, brand new today. So, I mean, again, if you're not, I mean, you're watching, so that's great, but make sure that you like and share this stream.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
I mean, there's not, nobody else even probably knows what this is, let alone shows it to you as it's happening. So these are some of the expected imbalances that are coming through here on the close. And, there's a big one there with J&J. Just do the math, 13 million shares times 160. I mean, we have a 3.5 billion note, right? And so that would make sense why you have some of that going through. And then Kenvue should take out some of that, but Kenvue's only a $20 name, so it's J&J, which is the big dog here. Let's just see how it's moving. Like Neil asked about how it's moving. Let's just get rid of this data editor. Oh man, 165.00. I hate that we have to do this. But look at this, man. Straight to the downside. So J&J, just since we've gotten that data at 330, we got it earlier, but since 3:30, it's really made the move down. But don't confuse the move down in J&J with anything other than maybe what's happening with this market. I mean, the market is puke city. We're now $9 in the money right now with Nvidia. You guys asked me for a Lambo trade. I mean, I hate that talk, but I mean, this is $9 now. So hopefully that's good. And then, by the way, asking you sometimes shall receive. Nice move down on AMD right there. And we took a 20 bid. Like I said, you are 25 bid. You got to put your bids in to get filled. So we did that. And here comes AMD back down to the downside. Man, my voice is getting slippy here.
Yeah, so someone just asked in the chat where Apple was. It just broke support levels. If you're wondering where this line comes from randomly at 176.25, go back to here. The last time we were underneath 177, the bid was 176.25. I don't make it that complicated. So last time underneath 177, it got to 176.25 multiple times and bounced. So this time, that's where the line in the sand is. I had a bid in front of it for a target once we reversed to 77. Now I'm just trailing it to this level. If it gets back above that support level, I am out. Otherwise, we're going to hold it till after 350 because if the imbalances come out to the sell side, fair enough. It was the only bounce play I liked. We took it, but once it reversed, we got out. That's how it's been a good day today, by not fighting, just kind of going with the trend. You can like a bounce play, but you can only like it so much. And you got to know where you're wrong, and wrong was underneath 177 here. Wow, Mullen's really starting to fall. Should have just shorted that stock again. what is going on with, you know what, I'm not going to, with only 1 minute to go, I was going to check out what was going on with that plug, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's moving that much. This might get trailed out, but I do expect there's probably going to be some large imbalances, and if they come to the sell side, you could see a spike to the downside that I would want to grab out. If they come in the other direction, well, I have a trailing stop anyways. So you're going to see some big numbers almost for sure at the end of the day. If you're looking at the chip names, it's been an abject disaster. But there's one name that I have not said. Well, I said it once, SMCI. Sometimes you look at Apple, you look at Nvidia, and then realize, hey, there's another name which has usually been following with it. And this one did have a bad day today coming back in. But it bears mentioning, I'm only going to throw this out there, Nvidia is continuously making lows. SMCI has actually found a bottom, and it did so a long time ago at 1130, and it's holding a higher low. The market is still tanking, and SMCI is holding higher lows. I don't know if that means it's going to bounce tomorrow, but I at least think it's worth looking into, because a lot of times something exhausts itself. It's already been absolutely crushed. The pullback everyone wants to happen on Nvidia kind of already did on SMCI. So it's showing some signs of making a bottom there, as it is now 350. Kenvue is 18 million to, oh, I'm seeing it twice because that BKR. 18 million to sell, to buy, J&J 13 million to sell. Now I'm seeing every one of these double. Apple's a sell of 1.2 million, but it trailed out anyways. Apple came out a big sell and it bounced up, and I got trailed out. What else is there? I see, who cares? TLT came out to sell. It doesn't really matter. Alphabet to sell, 600,000. Amazon, 600,000 sell. We got an updated number, 3.2 billion. So it was supposed to be 3.5 billion early look, and it came out 3.2 billion. Maybe that's why we bounced a little bit there on Apple. But it's all good. Like, I think at that time of day, I always want to have a trailing stop. It wicked 76, came back to 176.20. You know, at the end of the day, you're not going to get the bottom wick or top wick on every single trade. You just got to take what the market gives you.
All right. Finally, we can end the trade here on Nvidia. I changed my out from 76 to 75. So we got out there, broke 75. We actually got a great fill, 75.14s. So it broke, and we got out of that one. And then, wow, talk about like an absolute monster. We mentioned that AMD was having some problems going down, but it's not having any problems going up right now, as AMD continues to make a move higher right now. Upside, upside, upside for AMD. And yeah, there it is, man. We talked about the NASDAQ being down 2% today, and there it is. It is down 2%. Remember, it was down like 1.4, and I was like, you know what? The NASDAQ could still go down even further than this. So no surprise that we are having a negative push here, into the close. Let's just check. Let me check out J&J. Remember, we had a big sell imbalance. I mean, there it is. There's the move to the downside. So we'll have to pay a little bit more attention to this, because it's still 10 million shares. And it basically gave you $1 flat there on J&J. So I don't know.
Yeah, like if you focus on those, like that actually gave you a great trade.
And then as you said, Apple as well with the sell, but then you mentioned getting wicked out or get stopped out. Yeah, so it did go up.
It went up
on that. So that's a little bit strange. And you know, Intel, wait a second, I don't even have these sorted by size, or do I? No, I do not. There it is right there. Apple with the sell, so Comcast is there. Enbridge is there as a buy, so shout out to our Canadian friends with Enbridge. It's a big holding for me in Canada. Lucid, ooh, an interesting name that we haven't. Lucid is sub $6. Yeah. That name just continues. What does Lucid even look? Ooh, yeah, Lucid on the daily, man. That bottom is 5 and change for Lucid. So you're not like, that's an all-time, is that the all-time low? Let me find out exactly what Lucid's all-time low is. Is it 540 like that? Right there, yes it is. It is 546. All-time low there for Lucid as I look on my other chart. But yeah, wow. So that's coming right back in for LCID. I don't know, man. The Saudis can buy Neymar and all those guys, but I guess they can't tell anybody to buy their cars.
They can't force it.
Lucid still.
Can't they though?
And is Rivian?
Maybe it's in the clause.
Rivian 18 yet? Because that was a key price. Okay.
It's actually 20.
Yeah, just at 20 still. So that's another one that'll be falling down soon. That's Rivian.
I see a question, Arthur Grasso, what about BAC? Let me just, to find an individual name on the imbalance locator, kind of have to, all you can do is sort it by alphabetically, and then I have to scroll over to it. I don't mind doing it, it's just, there's like 2,000 names on here, and now they're all double because I have that other source. faster if I do it this way. BAC. The banks were under a lot of pressure today. Obviously, I think that's going to be true for a lot. Wow, there are way too many names in here. Finally, BAC, want to sort through. Yuck. There's BAC. Infinitesimally, that's not that small, but it's only, ignore that early look one. You're looking at the one now here, 350,000 to sell on BAC. That's really nothing on BAC. I know like 350,000 shares seems like a lot, but you have to put everything into context. BAC has done 27 million shares of volume. So 300,000 into 27 million. Not going to move the needle at all on BAC. Like if it's not over a milli, it's probably not going to do much to that stock. And that's why we always talk about the big ones. Like we're going to usually ignore the names that are not that big. Mullen apparently just had some news. I don't think it's a big deal. Start of Class 3 vehicle production with successful commercial EV launch event.
I saw that. 57, was it 67?
$68,000 MSRP. I actually don't know that. I don't know anything about the Mullen, about their vehicles or anything like that. But I guess starting production is not a bad thing. If you can actually get them, like, the first step would be actually producing something, and then the second step would be selling them, and the third step would be making money while selling them, and then the fourth step is getting profitable doing all of those things. So step one is a start for Mullen. That's all I could say. The imbalances should have just paired a little bit here, so I have to go back and sort by size to try to find out what just happened. Now Kenview is a 13 million buy. J&J is 1.5 to sell. You have to ignore these BRKR. It's the number for NYSE that ends up mattering.
Yeah, I got rid of those BRKRs. Oh, excuse me. Now Nvidia's dropping back down a little bit here, so yeah, it's for 355 and it's trying to make new lows. So we got out at like I said, 475. That's gonna suck, but I'm still really happy and proud of that trade. So there it comes, right back down now into 472.50. So that could be a level there to look at one more time. We have to close all of our trades. So, this is interesting. I know we've been sort of talking about the same names, but look what's just happening right now.
Oh my God.
Google just lost 130 right there. So that's a big one. We were defending that 130 area, and we didn't do anything about it. We were able to get out all the way up here, so that was actually really fine. But yeah, it did not hold 130. We talked about the next shoe to drop here today. So Trump is en route to surrender in Georgia, right? And so the thing is that I just went over to DWAC to see if there's anything happening, and there's not. So that just hit on the news wires right now as well. He's going to surrender for arrest Thursday evening, and DWAC could be in play at some point, but doesn't really look like it's doing much right now. We were just up to $18 on Digital World Acquisition Corp, I believe it's called, but of course it hasn't de-SPAC'd yet. So I don't know where this thing is going to go. I would say it's going to go way lower than this, especially if I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I'm not trying to talk politics, but if he goes to jail or something like that, I don't know how that affects the truth. I don't know enough about it. I don't think it's going to happen either. But I just don't know about the stock, so I would say just look out for this. And I would, because it can settle at $10, you may want to get out if you're long if it breaks 12 and save yourself that 20%, because it's going to go back down to 10, and if it de-SPACs, then you're sort of by yourself on that. So I don't know enough about it. It's just watch out for DWAC, especially because that news, it just hit the wire, which is why I'm talking about it. Obviously, DWAC's not doing anything. Snowflake, like I was saying, we got to start getting out of everything. So AMC needs to come out. We only have a few more minutes, so I'll just bid this out, hopefully, and then Snowflake, I'll put that up on another screen and get out of this one as well, because we're long. We could just punch out of that. There we go. We punched out at 90s or so we got that fill, so that was good. And then we're just waiting to get a fill here on AMC, which seems to be pretty dead right now, needless to say. We're bidding 36s here. Let's see if we get it.
That is wild, Nick Garcia.
It's wild.
With 2 minutes to go, talk about wild R&R. Held 15 contracts from 15,355 all the way to highs, only to now take profit. Well, what's the high? I mean, you were risking to 15.4. That's 45 handles, and it's now, what's my math on this? 500? How many points is that? 400 and, I don't know, over 400 points. Right? So it's like 8 to 1, 8.5 to 1. Again, if you get all out, that's definitely going to be true. Just going to point out Kenvue in a second here, but yeah, if you get it all in and all out, then yeah, 8 to 1 is ridiculously good. If you scalp out, sometimes that changes things. Like if you hold an $8 move, but you're getting out along the way, then probably your R&R works up to like 4 to 1 or 3 to 1. So Kenvue did stay a buy at least for now, and it did pop up a little bit. I'm assuming J&J probably still falling, although I haven't looked. It's now 3:59. We got 1 minute left to go. It's been a wild one. It's been a good one. Trading was a good day
J&J's
today.
a buy now.
J&J's a buy now, so that probably flipped a. Well, you have the stock up?
It did flip.
I don't have it up.
It didn't go that much crazy.
A little bit.
164.50 up 80, up 30 cents, up into the 80s right now. We'll watch it. There's Kenvue as well. Kenvue's still a buy, and it's starting to go upside a little bit as they all basically are pairing off. So I don't see too many eventful moves here today, but it was a good move on J&J to the downside off of that imbalance.
Yeah, you want to capture your profit on those gimmicks
it's
like
cat
that.
time.
Yeah, you don't. When you see a move like that, you take advantage of it because that imbalance, it's there to be paired off. It's literally the point of it. They advertise it so that people can take the other side, and it doesn't move the stock. Katrina is going to be on the bell, but the day is not necessarily over because you still have the market recap show. In 10, 9, yeah, just there she's ready. Dance it off. Have a fun one. It's been a good one, but 3, 2, 1, and ring it.
Hell yeah. So what a good day it was here again. We're excited. We got Michael Noss there on the big desk. Someone just printed $10 behind us. Yeah, it's a good one here. It's been a fun day. We're really excited. You can hear the guys in the back probably took some Kenvue or J&J's or something like that. So it's been really good. And it's nice to see we have that new feed. So we'll look at that a little bit more as we go.
New things live for you guys. We got the new TV shot, then we got that new leg on the imbalance we're able to show you guys. That's what it's all about here. We're just sharing with you every single day. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's not going to be over. I want to shout out to Obi, obviously, filling in for Max on the midday because Max is in Barcelona. What a day he missed, but he knew he was missing Nvidia earnings. He's cool with it. Sharif doing a great job as always. Shout out to Ramin, obviously, and Fabian on the 1s and 2s. And let's give it up. Frank, always a great guest. But we have more. We have the NOS boss. He's right there with Brendan. We love to have him in the house. TradingTV has some new features that we're going to be testing out. And you're going to be heading on over to the desk right now for the after show.
Yep.
I can't imagine what you might talk about today. I think it's a surprise to everybody that you're going to be babbling on about a firm for about a half an hour or so, which is what I would do too.
At least.
No, I'm just all kidding. Let's get on over to the desk because the after show is on and we're going to talk some chips, I assume.
Hey guys, yeah, 4 o'clock. Let's get you wrapped up here as far as the overall market is concerned. I was just mentioning to Michael Noss here, futures still falling even after the equity session gets closed off for the day. That is a tease of what is to come tomorrow. Make sure you're with us tomorrow. More to come on that from Mr. Noss himself. NASDAQ 2.32.